Can you hear me? This is Tim, Tim Sandoval. You can hear me? Okay. All right. I was trying to figure out why I couldn't hear you, but you're on mute. That's why I can't hear you. So, thanks.
Okay, they can hear that.
Well,
Oh.
when in teleconferencing locations, Fairmont maybe is cool.
Oh, that would have to be. Oh, yeah. Okay. It literally took me 12 minutes to get it this morning. I was like, I'm going, don't screw it up. Just keep going. Yeah, from
Hey,
Laverne.
Reza.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Hi.
Good morning, Director Krieger. How are
Hi.
you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Good. How's your daughter?
Very good.
Not sassy?
No.
She's still sleeping when you left.
No, she's watching Gilmore Girls and laughing hysterically. And
Okay.
I could hear her.
We watched one last night and it was someone goes to Paris. She wanted to get a Christian Dior dress. And I was reading my stuff last night, reading it over. Cutest darn movie, but it's about a housekeeper in London that wants this Christian Dior dress and goes to Christian Dior and hey, don't look at me like that. It was actually a very good movie.
I'm trying to figure out which one it was, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't think of what it is. Yeah.
Mrs. Something goes to,
there's a show Emily Goes to Paris, right?
right, that's the one
Okay,
which
so that's the show.
I can't stand it. I'm sorry.
No, but I think I think I know which. Yeah, it has like
Something
goes to. Yeah, I know what you're talking
goes to
about.
Paris.
Yeah, I just can't think of what it's called.
Yeah. Good to see you. Pardon?
Joining the meeting.
Unless the boss comes in, yes. Yes. She was dealing with the father this morning over at City Hope, so she's texted and said, hey, I said, whatever you need. I'm waiting for the boss to tell me we go.
So I can't tell if these remote people. I see Tim, but I don't know if Claremont and First District are there.
First district is.
Oh,
But is a member there? I'm sorry.
I
Oh, I
saw a picture, but it was a still. picture.
I don't.
She's waving.
Good morning, everybody. We need one more person to have quorum. If we can just wait a few minutes.
Becky's on the way.
Okay, awesome. So
You mean
we'll wait for her. Thank you.
Maybe.
Oh, I see. I can see there were two windows.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Good morning.
Hello again. Nice
I
to see
know.
you again.
Yeah, we got a nice sunburn out there.
Oh,
Laverne.
man. My wife said, hey, don't forget sunblock. Well, guess what? I forgot sunblock.
Oh, my God.
We had the
Nice event. Very
completion
nice.
ceremony in Laverne.
That's right.
It was incredible. It really was incredible, but then we had another function in an open area with the sun out and that.
Get ready for 5760's
Oh,
gonna
I'm
be
spraying
intense.
up.
Yeah.
Spraying up.
We're like wearing white suits.
5760.
I think my white hair reflects the sun, plus it's a little sparse sometimes in places, so it just gets scorched. Yeah, it was the final clip in the rail.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Another really nice article is that we made the newspaper 3 times between that and there was a nice article you see on the workforce development.
Which and where?
In Tribune, we were the top story Friday night.
Senate.
Yeah, so we had a housing trust groundbreaking Tuesday. We did the workforce story Friday and then the gold light was, I was like, we're very popular right now, like nice stories are in the
Hey,
newspaper.
don't knock it. It's
I
really
know.
good.
I was really
And just keep
excited.
bringing the money. Just
Yeah.
keep bringing the money whenever you do anything. Just bring the money.
Shout out at the Gold Line event. Right, Becky got a.
Yeah, she called me. She was so excited.
Well, she calls me, she says, I went to turn left on Arrow up D Street. I said, to Becky, did you read the instructions? It said, no. I said, park at the gas station and walk across the street. Don't go anywhere else. And she was there at second. So, yeah, we got lots of photo ops and stuff with her. I have to send her stuff this morning, but it was very nice.
Yeah, that's what she
Tribute to
said.
her. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Wow.
I interviewed one of the girls that completed the program.
Well, we all got a shot in there, didn't we? Wow. Susan Rubio has been everywhere.
No.
She is, I mean, it's incredible. Let's say she's just, I don't have kids, I could be anywhere. Okay.
Good afternoon, good morning, actually, this is beginning again, Tim. With Mr. Reese, looks like we have quorum. Do we still want to wait for President Shevlin?
I think we should probably start. We have everyone present, so we'll go ahead and start.
Okay,
Thank you. Before we begin today's meeting, Yanin, do you have any instructions for today's meeting?
yes, we do. We are holding this meeting in compliance with Brown Act rules relating to telephonic video conference meetings. Some of our committee members are participating via teleconference. For committee members joining us via teleconference, please use the raise hand feature if you would like to speak, and we will call in the order we receive the raise hands. For members of the public that have joined us in person and would like to provide a comment, please fill out a comment card located by the entrance door and submit the card to Marita at the reception desk in the front. We will call on you when it is your turn to speak. For members of the public that have joined us at a teleconference location and would like to provide a comment, please notify the staff present when you would like to provide a comment. And lastly, you may provide a public comment for up to 3 minutes, and that concludes our meeting instructions. Thank you.
Thank you, Yanin.
Good morning.
With that, if we could rise.
Mr. Vice Chair.
Boy, I just.
You made it perfect timing. If you could please place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Mr. Vice Chair.
Yanin, could we please do the roll call?
Mr.
Yes.
Vice Chair, can you hear me?
Yes.
I just want to let you know, I just got a text message that Chair Moss is on her way from to be there in person with you guys.
That's fine. She told me she was going to run a little late, so I'll pass the wand over as soon as she gets here. Thank you.
May we proceed with roll call?
Yes, please.
Chair Moss on her way. Vice
Yes.
Chair Hepburn,
Yes. Here.
Member Reese,
Here,
President Shevlin,
Here.
Member Lowe, absent. Member Sternquist, absent. Member Dang,
Here.
Member Jimenez, absent. Member Sandoval,
Here.
Supervisor Solis,
Here.
and we have quorum.
Thank you, Yanin. Do we have any public comment today or requests?
We did not receive any written public comments. Please allow me a moment to see if we have any raised hands. I do not see any hands. We may proceed.
We move to consent calendar. Yanin, do we have any public comment requests on the consent calendar or any raised hands from the public?
We did not receive any written requests. Please allow me a moment to see if we have any raised hands. And I do not see any raised hands. We may proceed.
I'll move the consent calendar items 4 through 13.
We have a second?
second,
If we have a second from Sean.
Second.
Go ahead, vote please.
Chair Moss on her way. Vice
Yanin,
Chair
we do-
Hepburn,
Yes.
Member Reese,
yes,
Just like clarification. I just want to make sure that's the intent. So. consent
President
calendar,
Shevlin.
You need it?
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry.
Yeah, 4 through
I'm
10.
sorry. I
Yeah.
flipped the page and I
Yeah.
didn't realize it is only items 4 through 10.
Yes. Clarification, it is items 4 through 10 on the consent calendar. We have a motion and we have a second.
Okay.
With that, Yanin, continue the roll call. please.
President Shevlin,
Yes.
Member Lowe, absent. Member Sternquist, absent. Member Dang,
Yes.
Member Jimenez, absent. Member Sandoval,
Yes.
Supervisor Solis,
Yes.
the motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you, Yunnan.
Sometimes in your zeal, you just get
We got the
a few other items in
You
there.
had the
It's gonna
adrenaline flow from
advance-
driving down the
advance
hill.
the meeting.
Did your car even warm up coming down the hill?
Just barely.
We'll move to action items. Yunnan, are there any public comment requests on the action items or any raised hands from the public?
We did not receive any public comment requests. Please allow me a moment to see if we have any raised hands. I do not see any raised hands. We may proceed.
Are there any questions from the board on any of this item here? That would be a no. We move forward, then we need a motion on this. Is that correct? Or are we going to, we're going to review it first, are we not?
Yes, yes.
Okay, let's review, please.
Yes, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee, the staff recommend the committee to authorize the executive director to accept the offer in the amount of $846,788.80 from Palladium Development for this particular COG-owned surplus property and to proceed with the finalizing the negotiation. Now, our right-of-way agent, consultant Mark Mendoza, have a short presentation regarding this matter.
Yes, thank you. The property in question, that I believe you can all see on the screen, is comprised of several parcels, and it was acquired in conjunction with to support the Reservoir Street grade separation. And there's hashing and different colors on it because the parcel itself has a slope easement, multiple utility easement, and an ingress egress easement. So it's rather encumbered. And it was put on the market way back in 2007, and there was no appetite at the time for it. And so now we're in a situation where we've gone through the Surplus Land Act. The property was made available for 500 to 597 priority purchasers that the state identified, and 3 solicitations or offers to purchase were tendered. And we evaluated them in conjunction with legal counsel and made a determination that the proposed purchaser was the most qualified and we were going to build the most affordable housing in 17. So we're going to negotiate in good faith and believe that the price that Mr. Lai mentioned is adequate, and we want to move forward and consummate this transaction at the earliest possible time. I'll answer any questions if there are.
Any questions on this piece of property?
I just have a question, Mr. Chair, regarding the developer. You're talking about affordable housing. Do we have any idea what the plans are in terms of affordable housing, how many units and what the AMI is, and any of that information thus far at all? Or is it too premature?
There is, thank you, Supervisor Solis. The proposed project will consist of 17 affordable housing units, and the property, there will be restrictions that will be placed on the property so that it will continue to be used as affordable housing, consistent with the state dictates and the Surplus Land Act. This is a priority purchaser as identified by the state of California.
And I can reach out to the developer and find out the affordability of the bring that up.
So just a question, just looking at the topography and all that, is this property going to have to be mitigated? It, may have some cleanup costs. Is there anything related there that?
Not that we're aware of. The purchaser did their due diligence, and we believe that they're in conversation, more than conversation, but with the adjacent property owner, that there's going to be a combined project, or they're gonna assemble parcels to build an even larger project.
Oh.
We don't know that for a fact, but that's what we were told.
Yeah. Forgive me, just by looking at the map, some of it looks like it's commercial zone, right? And then Jason, I'm not sure what the northern part beyond Monterey Avenue, if those are
resident-
homes, I
yeah,
can't tell.
The parcel was originally owned by GTE, and it was a storage yard. And what was interesting, we believe the reason why it didn't sell early on, some number of years ago, is because it was zoned commercial. The zoning is now will allow for multi-family residential. So we think it's going to be a fairly dense
Right. Okay.
project.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to figure out where logistically what I'm looking at and where our nearest transportation can somebody point that out?
I can speak to that. This is Tim Sandoval.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, I'd be happy to speak to that. So just, I hope, Chair, I don't mean to interject. I did have my hand up. Is north of this is apartments.
Okay.
All housing. And to the east of it, which would be to your right, is all housing. And as you know, the way in which these zones were planned years ago, you put some of the poorest community members right next to industrial areas.
Yeah.
There was a pellet company that wanted to buy that property and put pellets as opposed to housing, and the city made sure that we changed our zoning so that you could not put pellets right there. So this is just an example of years ago. I will tell you that property had empty for some time, so I just want to say thank you to the staff for finally getting it to a place where it can be sold. But there is much needed housing in that area.
Right.
And from the resident standpoint, they would much rather have housing there than to have some more light industrial or even pellets, even though it's not the ideal situation. It does bring more housing, much needed housing to the area.
Right. No, I think that's great. I mean, we've had to do this in unincorporated areas around City of Industry and the West Puente Valley, and it's worked out. So as long as people have transportation, they can get to and fro. I think it's great.
So just so you know, the next street up is Holt. And so that's where you would catch the Foothill Transit is right there. And you would have to walk, but you could catch the Metrolink GO line is a little too far. But there is bus that runs through Reservoir and Monterey.
Good.
I'm sorry, through Reservoir and Holt, which is the next street north of here.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, where's the closest like grocery, pharmacy, things like that we always kind of concern ourselves with? How we're in relation to that? I know the area a little bit, so it must be fairly close for grocery, things like that.
Yeah, within walking distance to west of the property is Cardenas Markets.
Oh, cool. That's good. Cardenas. I like Cardenas.
Beautiful. Back to Mark. Mark, you were saying that there might be a multi-development here as far as that piece of property. Is it property to the left over here, to my left?
Yeah,
Which?
Yes, the short answer is yes, to the west. And there was a fire. I don't know if this image captures it, but the building there is no longer. And we were actually in conversation with that property owner early on as part of the project many years ago. So as I said, our understanding is that the owners of the two parcels, the subject parcel, the one immediately west or to the left, looking at the image, have been in conversation about developing the property together.
I'm curious as to the access easement. Is it active? And is it for the property to the south?
Yeah, so it'll be that blue, I guess.
Yeah, the
that
blue.
Right. It is, yes, it's yes.
Because that kind of.
It really, it's right in the.
Yeah, it's right in the middle.
Was there any other images that we have?
No, but this great separation would take the roadway, would suppress it down. Therefore, I think the normal access to the reservoir is cut off. So it has to kind of go through from the.
That'll be interesting design for a residential project if you've got the access to
Through
the
a-
commercial
Through
lot
a
to the
commercial
south.
lot. Yeah, that's kind of, so they're not gonna have access on Reservoir, they'll have it on Monterey for sure.
Well, yeah, Reservoir is depressed, as Mr. Lai was suggesting.
It's down below.
So yeah, as you
Okay.
move southerly, it goes lower. The primary access was off Reservoir previously, and off Monterey is where the primary access will be now, or is now.
But we have a number of streets, we make them wide enough, you could make one major access and make it double wide so the fire trucks can come in and out. So I mean, that's probably it, but not to do away with Mr. Sandoval's commercial properties, but it'd be nice if that property on the south there would be open up and build even more housing, which would be great.
I need to correct the statement that I made. So the access is to the property to the south, and that is the parcel that it actually does look like it was burnt. You
Yeah.
can see, that's the parcel. I was mistaken.
Oh,
To the
okay.
west is a single family
Oh,
residence.
so they are talking about access.
Yes,
Okay, good.
yes.
So
That
that's-
makes it,
I mean,
that makes a
that's-
world of
my-
difference.
That would be your access right there in and
Yeah,
out. So
yeah,
that
that
would be
makes a
great.
world of difference.
Minor,
Yeah.
minor.
I'm assuming we gave that access easement to mitigate our damages.
Exactly, exactly.
Because we were cutting off access to the property to the south, so we probably condemn that access easement out to mitigate our damages to that particular property.
Okay.
Otherwise, it would have been a complete taking.
Yes, as Mr. DeBerry suggests, with Reservoir was lowered, now there's a slope, you can see it from above, but it's a slope and the access was eliminated. So the substitute access is the access easement that was provided over the subject property. Exactly.
And well, I would think then they really do need that southern
Another piece
parcel
of property.
to make the project work.
Right.
Very good. Any other questions or comments for staff? With that, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion. to-
Second, Solis?
Do we have public comments?
He did ask, you did ask.
I did ask, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I just didn't hear. Yeah, okay.
We can double check for public comment, but I did request it, but I think we're, you know,
We did not receive any written public comments.
very good. To move back, then we have a motion from President Shevlin and a second by Supervisor Solis. With that, vote please. Yanin, take a vote.
Thank you. Chair Moss. Absent. Vice Chair Hepburn,
Yes.
Member Reese,
Yes.
President Shevlin,
Yes,
Member Lowe absent. Member Sternquist absent. Member Dang,
Yes.
Member Jimenez absent. Member Sandoval,
Tim, you're muted.
you're muted.
Yes.
Thank you. Supervisor Solis,
Yes.
the motion passes. Thank you.
I think it's more than an active and very needed conversation with this southern parcel.
Yeah, just slightly.
Yeah.
With that, thank you, Yanin. We move to item 12.
Yes.
Tell us about item 12.
Yes, this is actually very exciting item. Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee, the staff within the committee to approve the award of construction contract to OHL USA for the construction of Montebello Grade Separation Project. To authorize the executive director to execute the contract in the amount of $127,136,976. Yeah, no worries. Chair, we're just looking at item 12.
Okay.
And this is regarding the award of construction contract to OHL USA. And our senior project manager, Kerry Insel, will be doing the presentation for this.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and members. Like Kevin said, my name is Carrie Instein. I'm one of the senior project managers here at the Sgvcog Valley COG. The Montebello Boulevard Grade Separation Project is assigned to me. We just have a short presentation to give you an overview of the project, to refresh your memories. This is an artist rendering of the grade separation itself. This is the main component of the project. What this artist rendering shows is Montebello Boulevard going underneath the what will be the new Union Pacific Railroad tracks and bridge, and the new Olympic Boulevard Bridge before it comes back up to the north to join the rest of Montebello Boulevard. And you'll also see a realignment of Roosevelt Avenue to the west to join the lower portion of Montebello Boulevard. Next, Yumi. The other components to this project include improvements to the at-grade crossings immediately to the west. This is a schematic of Greenwood Avenue, which will serve as one of the detours while the grade separation is under construction. So at this location, you'll see here, that's the Union Pacific Railroad corridor. This is Greenwood Avenue right here. We will be installing new curb ramps, new curb and gutter sidewalks, as well as new safety features related to the railroad, such as new signage and new barriers for pedestrians and vehicles. And we will be also installing new medians along Greenwood Avenue to prevent cars from going around. Next, Kimmy. This is Vale Avenue. This is a schematic of Vale Avenue. This will also serve as one of the detour routes while the grade separation is under construction. At this location, same as for Greenwood, we will be installing new curb ramps, new curb and gutter sidewalks, pedestrian signs, barriers for pedestrians and vehicles, and we will be also installing new medians along Vale to prevent cars from going around. Next, Yumi. And in between Greenwood and Vale is Maple Avenue. This will consist of new curb ramps, new curb and gutter and sidewalks, and also new safety features for pedestrian signage and barriers, and also new quad gates for vehicles. Next, Yumi. So the project funding for this project is coming from State Senate Bill SB1, the Trade Corridor Enhancement Program. That's in the amount of $49 million. We're also receiving funding from the Trade Corridor Improvement Fund in the amount of $18.851 million. Under Caltrans, we will be receiving $15 million from the Caltrans Section 190 program. And we've also been given $5.906 million from the Caltrans ATP Cycle 6. And then rounding out the difference will be our use of our local funds from that we have access to under San Gabriel Valley COG. Next, Jimmy. So this is just a very brief overview of the construction schedule. As you can imagine, it's going to be a lot more complicated than this. We obviously hope to award the construction contract today. Between June and winter of 2023, which is when main construction begins, we have a lot of mobilization to do. We have a lot of demolition of existing properties to accomplish. We'll also be starting on major utility relocations during that time. And then we're anticipating a 4-year time frame to complete the project. Next, Timmy. So this was this is just an outline of the procurement process. We advertised for bids in April, on April 13, 2023. We opened bids on May 25th, 2023. We received 3 bids. The lowest bidder was OHL USA Inc. At $127,136,976. Staff analyzed OHLA's bid, and we determined them to be the lowest responsive bidder. The notice of intent to award was issued to all of the bidders on June 8th, and we did not receive any protests for this solicitation. Next, Jenny.
That is the last slide for Montebello.
I just want to keep going.
You want to keep going, I know.
All All right, thank you very much. Question?
Question. I'm just curious, have we dealt with OLOP USA before?
Yes, in fact, one of our project, Fairway Great Separation Project is with OHL.
And we haven't had any problems.
No, I think in general, they've been very reasonable. We've had our share of issues, but in my opinion, they've always come to the table to work with us and to help us against the project. So.
I was gonna say, do we ever not have any problems?
Yeah. I was just wondering, and for a
But-
project like this, it probably doesn't mean that big of a difference, but 15 million between the one and over 20 million for the next. So you always kind of worry. I know that the bid is higher than we anticipated, but when it's that much lower than the others, you kind of,
I felt the same way because like these guys were pretty much in line with the 142, 148, and that being significant. But again, we're required to take that. bid.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
There are a couple of representatives from retail here too.
Yes.
Hi.
That was actually, thank you, President Shelley.
You're
I think you
welcome.
all of
answered
them. She's
Chair
so good at
Moss's and
this.
mine, you know. almost like- My, again, the same point of question is the fact that I do recognize the name. They've been around for some time.
Yes.
My concern would be is change order requests and the retention that we have. Were they under those? And the projects were completed without issues, safety issues like that, and then they adhere to what we need to do to have a, I guess we could call it a clean project and on time and on budget. So those all, you're shaking your head, Director, that yes.
What our project, a Great Separation, is inherently a very challenging project. We're packing a lot of work in a very small, highly developed area, and that's therefore the reason to do a Great Separation. So there's quite a bit of cooperation that we always need from the contractor. If you look back through the history, some of the projects we do have very good success. Adjournment Great Separation, I think it was completed very close to on time and under budget. And the Dallas Great Separation between Fairway and Fullerton, that one was completed about 4 to 5 months over. But you know, some of these projects do get difficult, like Fairway and Fullerton, where they
just
have
a
been
little
dragged on a
PTSD.
little bit. But I do want to say overall, I think we do have our a wealth of lessons learned that we want to bring to this particular project. And OHL, you guys can probably elaborate, they've done some really major projects in the region as well. So I do hope that, you know, with you here, that we want to commit to working together. Every job has what we call a partner, which we invite a third party to come and then, you know, partner with the contractor, as well as DRB, Dispute Resolution Board, which we invite a third party to help us to resolve issues as well. So there's mechanisms in the contract that we hope that's going to help us to advance these projects.
I think we're all a little sensitive because we did have an issue, but we want to ask the questions first.
Yes.
And as you're newer on our staff, just to make sure that, obviously the price variance is like President Shevlin said, that's not unusual in construction. This is big stuff. This is going to be a major construction for that area. It's a very delicate area. It's a lot of through traffic, a lot of people in there. I used to work in that area. And I know that it's going to be a lot of outreach.
Yes.
And as the staff said, you know, requiring to get the properties taken care of, get those, you know, easements taken care of to make sure that the residents in that area are with the least amount of, you know, impact on them. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a great project. I'd like to see the timeline. 4 years is really good. I just, again, we want to, as we're just finishing our gold line, which is on time and on budget, we want to try on budget, not in excess, on budget. But just to make sure that, like I said, I do recognize your name, just making sure that we've done our due diligence, what I know we do, and make sure that we've got projects that's going to move forward and move forward well.
Yes.
How long has this project been on the books?
Since the beginning of time.
Dinosaurs?
It was originally
For all
supposed
of
to be in phase one, but we never could kind of work with the city on what the project would be.
Well, that was an issue, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right, so
It was the choice. That was an issue. They couldn't decide what they wanted to do. And whether it's gonna be a bridge, was not gonna be a bridge, was gonna be a grade separation,
Spiral.
not a spiral one, and then
Yeah.
like, no, wait, we don't
Yeah,
wanna do that.
right.
We're gonna do something different. And it's like,
Yeah.
then we never had a lot of
Yeah.
people showing up.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yes.
we're tickled to death that it's happening. I think it's
Yes,
great for the
yes.
COG. I think it's great for the constructor to be doing that. It's great for boots on the ground. It's great for labor. It's great for all those things. We just want to make sure it goes well.
Yes.
Are we anticipating that we're working, collaborating more productively with UP and?
UP is always.
I know we've had issues. I just, how so far has it been talking about getting ready to do this project?
I want to say that UP is on board. We do have our monthly UP meeting with them, and I believe that we have asked to schedule a consistent regular meeting with the UP.
Yeah, in addition to the monthly meeting that we have with Union Pacific to go over all of our projects, our construction management firm and COG staff will be starting to meet on a weekly or bi-weekly basis with Union Pacific just for this project. And I also wanted to touch on the community relations that we've been embarking on with Ricky Choi's staff. We've met with 3 HOAs so far in the last couple of months. I'm not going to say that they're all happy about what's going on. Everybody knows that there will be some growing pains. It's going to be difficult for the people that live immediately, next to the project site. But we are committed to being transparent with the residents and the businesses. And we've already promised them an open house as soon as OHLA is on board, and we've established a master schedule. One of the big items on that master schedule will be an open house for the community to come and, talk to us about the project.
How often do we meet with the city?
We made a presentation to the city council on March 22nd. It was well received at the city council. And prior to that, we wanted to make sure that we met with the council members to see individually to see if they had any other questions. But I think it was received well.
I just thought I'd ask them to be some movement there.
There is.
Yeah.
Do you know do they have any city manager?
Not that I know of, but I'm talking amongst the city council members. So a lot of action going on.
Well, considering the amount of money that all these agencies and our, state and federal are putting into this, we want to make sure it's a successful
Right.
project, but it has to
Right.
be successful with the input of the stakeholders, which are the council
Right.
and, the residents.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, this.
It's been a long
Yeah.
time coming.
It has,
We want this.
a lot of discussion
Completed.
and at some points there were absence of people, which
Yeah.
this is a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
And I know it'll be successful with us, not a question. It's just that, again, it's, your council stuff when you're dealing with it. It's like, we told you. We told you this was going to happen. We've had outreach and we've done our due diligence. It's just,
Yeah.
And when we,
Captain.
when construction's underway, when we have our weekly progress meetings, we traditionally invite the city staff, so representative would be present at our meeting and so forth.
And as a city in which we're the project, they do have a seat at the committee. So their representative is always welcome and invited here. So,
All right. There's no further discussion. Do we have a motion?
motion to approve.
Second.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I had my hand up. I
Oh,
think-
we don't-
Supervisor, I'm so sorry.
I think so did Council member.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Ed, you were before me, no?
Thank you, Supervisor. Yeah, just a quick question. I did notice that we are 18% over the original estimates for this project. Can staff share with me, just remind me, I guess, or educate me on how we got our original estimates, who did those original estimates, and how did we end up where we're at today? I mean, I saw in the report in regards to some thoughts that cost of cement and whatnot, but if staff can elaborate.
I'm sorry, I didn't fully hear your question, so I'll try to fill it in with my answer.
I'm happy to repeat. It's in regards to the 18% difference in the budget, the original estimated budget for this project versus the lowest responsive bidder. That's about an 18% increase over the original budget. And I'm curious on one, who sets the original budget, and how does that process happen? And two, I saw in the report in regards to, cement costs, but 18% on a multi-million-dollar project is a lot. Can staff elaborate on how we got, how did we miss that mark?
Okay, thank you, member, for your question. So the engineer's estimate was set by, in collaboration with the COG and our designer, our design firm, which is Moffatt and Nickel. And as to your question about the 18% difference, a lot of that can be attributed to market escalation. For example, a lot of the engineer's estimate was based on 2022 prices, and between 2022 and 2023, when the bids were submitted, there was a big difference in the construction market. A lot of the 18% can also be attributed to the allowances that were not included in the engineer's estimate. So for example, we have a $2 million allowance for differing site condition, $1.5 million for additional utility work, which we're being conservative with that because we know that there are major utility relocations for this project. We also, based on our lessons learned with Union Pacific, are including a $1 million allowance for what we're calling additional railroad work within Union Pacific right-of-way. And there were also a lot of deviations from the engineer's estimate related to the structural concrete. So for example, the temporary shoring was a deviation of 1.3 million. The Montebello Boulevard Bridge was a big deviation. That was $8.4 million deviation from the engineer's estimate. Also, the pump station, we think there was, this is a guess, but we think there might have been some additional risk that the contractor included in their bid because the pump station came in at $3 million over the engineer's estimate. There was also a deviation for the installation of water lines for two different water utilities. That's South Montebello Irrigation District and Montebello Land and Water, where we are required by both water agencies to use contractors of their choice. That resulted in a $2 million difference from the engineer's estimate. Those are just some of the major items that we noted in our bid analysis.
It appears that there's a number of deviations and escalations that have come into play that are significant in dollar amount. And I'm just curious, did our consultant miss those? Were those not anticipated, or were these all a surprise?
From what we can tell, based on our bid analysis based on the bid analysis that was done by our design firm, it really just come down to the fact that there are allowances that we included in our bid that weren't part of the engineer's estimate, and those allowances are there to protect us from possible change orders during construction. A lot of the deviations also seem to arise from the structural concrete component of the work, as well as just an escalation in the market condition, like I said, between 2022 and 2023. Another allowance that we included was building demolition. So originally our intent was to do the building demolition of the existing properties that have been acquired by the COG, to do that demolition under a separate contract, under a demolition only contract. However, due to timing, it just made more sense to include the demolition in this grade separation contract. So that demolition of the existing buildings was not included in the original engineer's estimate.
Can I just say one thing, just to clarify, because we say that it was, the estimate was in 2022, it's the beginning of 2022, so we're talking about like an entire 18 months, it's not like 3 months.
Yes.
And I know at the time, the prior chief engineer had told me that he expected it to be 12 to 15% higher than that. Like he said, to expect that. So really the difference in my mind is maybe 3 or 4% than what we thought was going to happen, because we knew that there would be like this 18-month period between when we did the estimate and got it. So I think we had that footnote in different claiming reports that we've done, we had estimated it would be about 15%.
Well, I appreciate all that information. I'm one for, in my organization, like Vice Chair Hepburn, I'm also a contractor, and an 18% difference is a swing and a miss in my organization. And so I hear what staff is saying in regards to the anticipation. I just want to make sure that we are holding our consultants accountable and making sure that they're really thinking broad picture, like what do we need to do here? What are all those details necessary to make sure that we go out to market, out to bid with all of the appropriate things kept in mind. My concern here now is that we're 18% higher. And my question then, my follow-up question to that is in regards to contingency. How are we dealing with contingency since we are exceeding by 18% our original bid, and by staff's, what I heard now, the last comments, staff's anticipation of 3, 4, 5% delta difference. I'm curious how we're handling contingency.
Now, with this 127 million, based on our expected total cost, remember, we calculated still about 5 to 6% in terms of contingency.
Okay, 5, 6%.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor, for allowing me to answer my question.
Oh, no, you.
Thank you for your comments, Member Reese. Supervisor?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to ask, I mean, I appreciate what Mayor Reese brought up, because I also had concerns and was just hopeful that as we move this project along, that we get future procurement reports that could show us and include the bid analysis, as well as things that you talked about today. Because I do agree that I get it that we have to pay additional inflationary costs and what have you, but I think having good project management team that can help foresee some of these costs, I know we can help save money, because we've experienced this on our own facilities here at, for example, LAC General Hospital. We're building things out there, and we had to build and demolish some property, and we figured out that we would do it all in the same contract and saved a lot of money. Because we knew costs were going to be going up. So I'm wondering if those kinds of projections and things are being built into this process, and want to hear more about that later. Not now, but certainly in reports that you provide to us. So I did want to say that. And then lastly, wanted to just mention, you mentioned you will be holding a meeting with the community. I want to strongly suggest that you hold several and that you offer them also possibly on the weekends, like a Saturday, and make sure that you have appropriate speakers that can, if there's, other languages that are necessary, that we provide that. And those would be my requests, if possible.
Yes, Supervisor Solis, we intend to hold meetings throughout the duration of construction. It's the first big meeting that we're looking at, like I said, is an open house for the residents and any other interested parties. And I expect to hold that within the first 6 months after we get OHLA on board.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Supervisor Solis. I do not see any other raised hands.
My raise hand.
Oh, sorry.
I'm Angie Jimenez. I'm one of the council members in the city of Montebello. I was literally running over here. I am a runner, and I was listening to the meeting. And I was very frustrated because I'm like, I can't vote because I didn't post and I didn't know that I did say that I was going to be here in person. So I do live in the South Side, and just recently we went into district, so that area is divided into District 4 and District 5. This has been a long time coming, and it is unfortunate that, of course, there are going to be a lot of residents that are going to be impacted by this, but we need this. We need this, and the residents in the South Side for a very long time have expressed that the South Side has always been neglected and forgotten. But I think this project is particularly important in allowing, and maybe some of the residents don't see this yet, but just connecting the northern part of Montebello to, to the South Side. What we do want to ask for is, and this is something that I asked when you came into the presentation at council chambers, that we do host a list of, different scheduled events for the community, and at a convenient time for all the residents, because just like our supervisor Solis just expressed, we do have to make it accessible, and during the time that it is reasonable for everyone to be able to participate, and make sure that we provide the resources for the languages that our residents speak. Also, the outreach. I was listening again to the meeting, but I couldn't participate. So I was literally, where's Yanni? Who's Yanni? Is she? I don't know.
She's in another room.
Okay, so I'm like, I'm getting I'm 3 minutes away. So I am training for an ultra marathon, and I'm literally, so I'm always running in between my meetings. But anyhow, so we want to make sure that to please ensure that we have the proper signage and detour signage for delays, because this is something that, while again, we all want this in our city, and I'm excited about it, but also a little concerned because I know the detours are going to cause a lot of, stressed out people and just frustrated residents. But again, we want change, so we're going to have to accept them, except for the consequences for a bit. So we're very excited about this. And again, I can't emphasize enough the amount of outreach that I hope that we get from, and that our residents receive from this. Okay.
Okay. All right, so do we have any other questions or comments on this item? And I know we did have a motion and a second already, so we can go ahead. I had a motion by Member Hepburn and a second by Member Shevlin. Roll call, please.
Chair Moss,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hepburn,
Yes.
Member Reese,
Yes.
President Shevlin,
Yes.
Member Lowe absent, Member Sternquist absent, Member Dang,
Yes.
Member Jimenez,
Yes.
Member Sandoval,
Yes.
Supervisor Solis,
Yes.
and the motion passes. Thank you.
So that brings us to item number 13. Staff report.
Yes. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. The staff will commit to the committee to authorize the executive director to execute the master agreements and associated program supplements with the California State of Transportation, that's Caltrans, for the state-funded transportation project. The master agreement in this case is for the CTC funding for the Turnbull grade separation as well as Montebello grade separation project. For Turnbull, it's 29 million in the TSEP program. For Montebello, as Kerry mentioned, 49 million in TSEP and also 18.8 in the TCIF, that's Trade Corridor Improvement Funds. The CTC requires that we execute the agreement for us to seek for reimbursement for project expenditures. As such, therefore, the project, the staff recommended committee to authorize the executive committee, the executive director to execute these agreements. And with that, we'll take any questions or comments.
I think you read my mind though, 'cause that was the first thing I was gonna ask you, what is CSIP? So thank you for that. Colleagues, questions or comments on this item?
Move the item.
All right, I have a motion from Supervisor Solis and a second from Member Chevron.
Chair Moss,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hepburn,
Yes.
Member Reese,
Yes.
President Shevlin,
Yes.
Member Lowe absent, Member Sternquist absent, Member Dang,
Yes.
Member Jimenez,
Yes.
Member Sandoval,
Yes.
Supervisor Solis.
Yes.
The motion passes. Thank you.
Good. All right, so that brings us to item number 14, which is the state budget update report. We've got Richie Choi and Tim Egan to update us on this item. Oh, I'm so sorry. Do we have any public comment on item number 14? We did on the last one.
We did not receive any public comments. Please allow me a moment to see if there's any hands. I do not see any hands. We may proceed.
Very good. Thank you. Ricky?
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Moss, members of the committee. I'm here with our state lobbyist, Tim Egan, and we just want to provide a brief update on the state budget. As you know, the state's facing a large deficit for the first time in many years. I think we were at almost record $100 billion surplus the year before. When the governor released his budget in January, we were looking at a $298 billion spending plan with a projected $22.5 billion deficit. And when he came out with the revised budget in May, we were looking at a $306 billion spending plan. And then $22.5 billion deficit that actually ballooned to $31.5 billion. So right now, where we're at is the legislature actually, a few weeks ago before their deadline, passed a budget, a $311.7 billion budget. And then since then, they've been in negotiations with the governor, and they have until the end of the month for the governor to enact the budget for the new fiscal year, which begins on July 1st. From what I have heard, this past weekend, the legislators were up in Sacramento. They were hoping to have an agreement, a budget deal that they could go to print and vote on Tuesday. But since then, I haven't heard anything, and so I think they're still in negotiations.
Our text messages didn't work.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
So what does that mean for us in transportation? There are some concerns for us. The governor had proposed some funding cuts and deferrals. The legislature put some of that money back in, but obviously they have to reconcile that and come to some sort of agreement. So I'm going to turn it over to our state lobbyist who will provide some additional details on what the proposal package is. Tim?
Yeah, can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. This is the governor's transportation package. He was proposing a $2.5 billion reduction in all of the transportation programs across every program, from highways to transit to multimodal, ATP, you name it. And also funding that we get for our grade separation program. some of the key areas that the governor wanted to reduce was $350 million for a relatively new program that came about last year, in last year's budget, for safety grade separations. We have been working with the agency secretary at Calstra for roughly about 18 months on this program, and we felt we were making some headway. He was starting to understand who we are, what we do, and what we have done historically. In fact, we have kind of on the table a standing invitation to have the secretary, when he's in Los Angeles on one of his trips, to come over and we could do a briefing. As you folks may recall, we've done, Supervisor Halise has been involved in quite a few of these. We've done briefings for federal and state elected officials and agency staff for many, many years. And they're very appreciative to come out and see what we've done and the success of our projects. The legislature, unfortunately, at this point has not pushed back on this cut of $350 million. The governor is proposing to delay it for 2 budget years. It's not going away right now, but he put it on the table. The legislature said, we'll probably go with it. Active transportation, a major program that we are involved in the Valley. The legislature restored the cut that the governor wanted to have of $200 million. So the program's back up to a little over $1 billion. The Transit Interstate Rail Capital Program, which is another very important program for everything we do, including Gold Line, the governor wanted to whack that by $2 billion. That was a major part of his proposed budget reductions. The legislature restored it back to $2 billion. And that will now, if it holds, will bring the overall number back to $4 billion for the next 2 budget years. Again, that's good news for the Gold Line. These dollars will be flexible dollars. If Metro and Gold Line and Foothill want to use some of these dollars for operations, they could use it up to 100%. The last item that the legislature put in was to grab some funding from the cap and trade program, which historically cap and trade has not been available to the what I call Main Street transportation programs. And most of the cap and trade money for transportation color money has been used for the high-speed rail. Legislature put $1.2 billion in there, and that's a significant number. And they've identified that for the zero emission transit capital program, which has been floating around in state government and also locally for quite a few years. But this is the first time that we really earmark significant dollars for zero capital program. Again, these are flex dollars, and if we want to use them locally for operations or split it another way, we could do that. The last slide, just quickly, the California Transit Association put on the table a pretty robust request to the legislature and the governor of $5.1 billion over 5 years. They didn't quite get the request, but in the previous slides, you'll see that the legislature has restored a significant amount of money. And a lot of that money was restored based on very strong advocacy from the transportation community, which was joined by every environmental group around, environmental group, business groups, California Chamber of Commerce, who very rarely says anything positive about public transportation, signed on to a coalition letter to the legislature and the governor requesting that we restore, if we can't get to $1.5 billion, at least restore what the governor was trying to take away from transportation. Final thing, we thought we would have a budget deal with the governor and the legislature this past weekend. That hasn't happened. We're kind of waiting, it could happen any moment now. In the meantime, the legislature has put out for public consumption, 24 trailer bills, very large. Some of these are budget junior bills. They're, thousands of pages long. Haven't gone through all of it. There might be some good surprises in there. I don't think legislature is going to do significant damage to what they've already agreed on. The governor has until Friday to sign the major budget bill that the legislature sent to him on June 15. And I anticipate that the legislature, maybe as early as tomorrow, will start voting on these trailer bills. And there's going to be a lot of activity in legislature and the governor relative to the budget before June 30. I'll stop there. I see Supervisor Solis has her hand up.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for that update. I just wanted to understand if you have any information regarding what is happening right now with the trailer bill regarding the money that was put back in for the Gold Line and for many of our projects. I understand the trailer bill language includes some requirement on the part of the governor's staff that asks that Cal STA to approve our short and long-term financial plans. That goes for you as well. I mean, for all of us. And obviously, in my opinion, it takes away our control to really oversee our budgets and sometimes changes that we have to make. I mean, obviously, we're confronting this all the time, but it's creating another loop for us to go through. And I'm just wondering if you've heard anything about that, because we've been alerted by our Metro CEO, Stephanie Wiggins, and we have our legislative people working up there right now, Michael Turner. I don't know if you have folks up there, and I'm sure they're probably, hopefully talking, but do you have any information?
Supervisor, that is a major issue. The Transit Association, when they brought forward their funding request, brought forward a lot of ideas that the legislature and the bureaucracy in Sacramento really have never been involved in. And that's kind of oversight of what we do locally, from how we spend our sales tax dollars, the dollars that state gives us, the dollars that federal government gives us. As you know, transportation has been kind of self-regulating. I mean, the legislature and Congress passes bills and they put requirements on us that we've had for decades. We now are going well beyond that. There will be significant strings attached to these dollars, both on the capital side, but mostly on the operating side. And I've been in the business 40 years. Transportation has been really my major client work. And I have to tell you, my opinion is I don't really like the way it's going. We're going to be giving up, as you point out, some of our local control. I mean, we know what's going on. We could do the job. We've done it. Sacramento is not necessarily structured or built for that. Caltrans is a highway department. It's not it doesn't build rail. It's not a bus department. CalStra has some capability, but generally the state doesn't have that capability to tell Metro or Foothill Transit or Gold Line.
Right.
We have some of the most talented transit people working for our agencies locally, and I'm a little concerned that we're giving away maybe too much oversight to kind of take care of what could be a short-term issue for the next 3 to 5 years.
I don't disagree with you at all. And just to let you know, our Metro representatives in Sacramento are actually asking folks, elected officials, Metro members, as well as local council members and others to also call your legislator and to have them hold on SB 125 and AB 125, which would obviously change our current control over these dollars and how they're spent. So that's just an FYI. Because
that's a good recommendation, because those trailer bills just came in print yesterday.
Yes,
so
that's when we heard about it. So
right.
I think all hands on deck.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
for that, Supervisor. Member Reese?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick follow-up to Mr. Egan's comments and Supervisor Solis's comments. You know, it seems like this is yet another avenue in which we'll see an erosion, a potential erosion on the loss of local control. And now we're talking about transportation. So now we're talking about loss of local control in the area of Metro, right? So that's Supervisor Solis, Director Sandoval. We have these bodies because they have people with boots on the ground that understand the operations, understand the need, understand our communities. And unfortunately, it seems like, yet again, Sacramento is looking to erode some of that local control. And it's an unfortunate thing. We see it happening in a number of areas, but obviously here's another area presenting itself. So I fully support Supervisor Solis's recommendation and us getting the word out, getting calls. I will make sure that we get the word out in regards to the Transportation Committee and making sure that our members are aware of what's happening. I will work with staff on getting that word out as soon as possible.
Thank you, Member Reese. Any other discussion? All right, so there's no formal action required on this item, so take us to.
Chair Moss, if we could have staff send out information to our cities and us members so we can get this to our people and concerned. If we could do that, please, as quickly as possible.
Yeah, because I think we all agree with the supervisor's recommendation,
do.
and then we should hit the ground running on this.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
Marissa's in the room, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Here.
Yeah, Marissa, if there's a way that you can get staff working on getting some word out on that to the Transportation Committee, that'd be great.
Yep.
And quite frankly, if Madam President, if she's comfortable getting out to our general body, but at a minimum, my role within the Transportation Committee.
Yep, we can do that.
Thank you, sir. Great, so that will bring us to item number 15. Construction project mitigation, environmental monitoring reports.
Yes.
You want to just ask if there's any other comments?
I know you, I'm sorry.
On any of
I'm
the
falling apart
updates-
today.
on any of the update items, that way we can handle them all.
No, certainly.
Yeah.
So did we receive, I'm sorry, did we receive any public comment on item 15?
You want to just do it?
Sure.
We did not receive any written comments. Please allow me a moment to see if we have any raised hands from the
That would
public.
be 15 through 17.
Yeah, Janine, it's going to be on any update item.
No raised hands. Member Reese, your hand's still up. Okay, we may proceed.
Very good. Thank you so much. I do apologize.
So this, the attached environmental monitoring report prepared for the ACE project currently under construction. They track environmental compliance, and at this time, there's no compliance issue identified. So this item is to be received.
Right, very good. Okay, so take us to 16.
Yes, so item 16 is the director's monthly report with the chair, vice chair, and members of the committee. Once again, the report is attached to the agenda and is for receive and file. Do just also want to note that the upcoming fiscal year is going to be a very exciting year for us because we have most of the project, the Montebello Fairway Golf Course, Fullerton, and Trimble. That's in construction. The total amount for the construction cost alone is over 800 million. And then for the next 2 to 5 years, we're also looking for funding to start funding our pedestrian bike lane project, water resource project, and also metro partnership projects, as well as some more of the bread and butter, the agri improvement project. So I wanted to saying that this is good for the region, and we're hoping to bring in more dollar amount so that we can better serve our region. Just also wanted to thank our staff for doing excellent work, and as well as this committee for giving us our staunch report so we can get our job done and keep it going. So with that, I'll take any questions. or
Supervisor
comments.
Solis has her hand raised.
Yes.
Supervisor?
Yes, hi. Yes, just really thank you for the update on all the projects, but wanted to give a shout out to our LA County Department of Parks and Recreation with respect to the Diamond Bar Golf Course renovation project. We approximately $180,000 to help upgrade the cafe and pro shop improvements that were done, and interior, exterior, carpet, tiles, lighting fixtures, everything. Hope the community is pleased with it. I haven't heard anything negative yet, but just wanted to give a shout out to our county department, because I know this is something that the residents there were very, very fixed on, and obviously we wanted to do our due diligence in our part. So want to thank the staff and everyone, including all of our staff here with ACE. So again, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor. Okay, do we have any other comments or any questions?
Just a trailer on that.
Yeah.
I've seen the improvement because I go by there almost
Yeah,
every day, and I will say, Supervisor, that that golf course is looking great. And I have gone by the clubhouse and seen the construction going on, so it's looking very nice. It's going to be a Class A facility when they're done with it. And
yeah.
they're moving along really fast. They're taking the big piles of the concrete, the underpasses, it's coming to life again. It's really cool. It's a nice job for staff.
It's
Great
very,
job.
very
It
impressive.
is
I
impressive.
should say, when, driving by, just to see how quickly or how much it changes every time. I haven't had an opportunity to go by the clubhouse, but I guess maybe we sort of encourage everybody if you get the opportunity.
It's almost done.
To go take a
It's
look.
almost, no, the clubhouse, but the actually maintenance house is the maintenance
Yeah.
facility's almost done, which is really beautiful too.
Thanks so much. Yes,
Yeah, that's the next one.
yes, exactly. Okay, so if there are no further questions or comments, this item is to receive and file. And then that will bring us to item number 17, active construction projects.
Yes, thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Actual report will be presented by our Senior Project Manager, Renee, as well as Gary. So with that, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, Renee, it's all yours, sir.
And so, good afternoon. So I'll do a quick update on the Denver golf course
First one up
project.
on the list.
So next slide. So as you can see, the maintenance bills, which we can see from the freeway, I think we got like a couple 100,000 views a day. It's pretty much done. The exterior is complete. We did have a couple of people tag it with graffiti. So
Yeah, they did, didn't they? They tagged it big time.
So we were going back and forth deciding whether to put out graffiti coating or not. And I guess it economically doesn't make sense, because if you put the coating up and they tag it, well, you gotta wash off the coating and repaint.
Oh, no.
So we're just gonna have to deal with it as it comes. We'll remove it. It's just cheaper to paint it. So that's the exterior. It's pretty dirty, but that's the first course of asphalt. Later on, once we're done getting in and out of all the construction equipment, we put the final course of asphalt, so it'll look pretty nice. It's all the way, it's an access the entrance from all the way from Prospectors Road. Next slide. So that's the inside of the new maintenance building. It's I think around 9,000 square feet. I think if you guys are familiar with the area before, it was pretty much like a residential house, maybe 1,500 square feet. So right now we're finishing the final touches on all the equipment. Later on, we're going to be finishing the new equipment. Part of our agreement was we had to keep the old stuff, but it's just easier to get rid of the old stuff. And we were supposed to store it, remove it, store it, put it back. It's just cheaper to get new stuff. So that's the inside of the new maintenance building. It's pretty much done. Next slide. So you can't see this from the freeway, but this is the new grass.
See it.
Yes.
Wait, hey, I'll put some big mirrors so we can just
There
look
you
over.
go.
Okay, there it is.
We're moving our way from the east to the west. So this is some of the sod that we rolled in.
Wow.
We're bringing in 50 acres of it.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, so
It's good business for the sod farm.
Right, I was gonna say, who's gonna
They haven't been doing so well
maintain
lately.
other courses are kind of mad at us because we ordered it in advance of time. So we ordered this a year ago.
So now we can't get it?
No, we thought like, hey, if it comes down a time crunch, just easier to get the rolls rather than place the seeds.
Yeah.
That sand, that's the greens, that's gonna be a different type of grass, so we're gonna plant that pretty soon. I mean, we couldn't have planted before because of all the rain, but now we have good warm weather. The grass is bonded with the earth, so it's looking pretty nice out there, and that's a new path for the golf carts. Next slide, or is this the last one? And if you've gone out there from the freeway, you can see we're putting all the new trees, so. We took out 500, we got to put in 500 trees.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yep. So, even though they're smaller than what they were before, it does look very nice and organized. They're on the same height.
It's gonna look great.
So, pretty soon, we're gonna be sodding that area with the grass pretty soon. We're just moving our way towards the freeway side. And I think that's it. I can answer any questions.
All right. Questions or comments on this item?
Great job.
No,
Looking
looks
really good.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Very good. Right?
When's the projected grand opening?
Right now, we're expected to be done with all the grass and activities at the end of July. But the issue is that the grass has to bond with the earth a certain amount of time before we can start playing with it. So it's going to be, we're going to have to project, but right now it's more of a day-to-day thing. I mean,
Yeah.
we may think it's ready, but the actual golfers that swing it like 100 miles an hour may not think it's ready. So with the
Talking
more
about the greens, or you're talking
The
about the
greens.
fairway, the greens?
The greens,
Yeah, because
the green.
it's a real tight grass that they on the greens, so it has to be set real well.
Yeah, so the fairways, like what you saw right now, in other areas, it's bonded pretty quick. We can step on it and it's good. But the greens, it's gonna be a day-to-day thing. Right now, we're hoping at the end of July, it's somewhat ready. And then we do like a little mixer and golfer, a little mix event. Invite members of the public in August. But right now, it's looking sometime in August, plain and safe.
Thank you, Ruth. All right, and then is that the only?
Then we have the fairway.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's right there.
Yeah.
And who's up?
Thank you, Chair Moss, members of the committee. This is a report on the Fairway Drive. We've got a few photos taken in June I'd like to share with you. So you need, everybody hear me okay? Just right here.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, this first photo was taken on June 15th. It's actually the top side of the Fairway Drive rail bridge looking west. The contractor's doing a process called flood testing the bridge. Waterproofing membrane to verify that the protective membrane applied to the bridge is sound and performing the waterproofing function as intended. The next step will be to cover the membrane with ballast, and that will pretty much complete the work on the bridge. Next photo. This next photo is taken on June 19th and is looking south along Fairway Drive. The contractor is applying the PermaShield graffiti coating. It's funny, we were just talking about graffiti. Well, here we are applying a graffiti coating, which is a sacrificial coating to make it easier to remove any graffiti from the surface it might be applied to. This coating material will also be applied to the retaining walls constructed by the project. You can also see in this photo that the concrete roadway pavement surface on Fairway has been completed. Remaining work on Fairway Drive includes landscaping the median, striping, signage, and traffic signal work. Next photo. This third photo is taken on June 20th. It shows the contractor doing a process called de-stressing the rail, which is a process of conditioning the rail to improve its ability to cope with temperature extremes in order to avoid buckling of the steel rail. So I'm happy to report that we're finally nearing completion and opening of Fairway Drive. I mentioned some of the remaining work required on Fairway Drive itself. We also will be completing surface improvements around the pump station, as well as the remaining private property restoration work in the next 2 to 3 weeks. The project is scheduled to be substantially complete on July 18th. And I understand a ribbon cutting ceremony has been scheduled for July 24th, 2023. So if there are no other questions on Fairway Drive, we can move on to Fullerton Road.
Colleagues, any questions on Fairway Drive? Is that
Great.
right? Yep, moving on.
Okay, these photos were taken in June at various locations within the project at Fullerton. This first photo is an aerial photo taken on June 14th. It's looking north at the northwest corner of the intersection of Fullerton and Railroad Street. This is the location of the Lee and Rowe property, where we have completed the underground utility work that cut through their parking lot, and we are now completing the adjacent retaining wall work, which will be followed by the restoration of their parking lot, which will include new pavement, striping, and landscaping. You can see a boom truck supporting a large SCE transmission pole on the south side of the property. The work on the Lee and Rowe property has been delayed for quite a while due to an SCE underground vault that was interfering with the construction at this location. And after many months of coordination with SCE, the vault was recently relocated. Work at this location is now able to proceed, hopefully without any further delay. Next slide. This photo taken on June 14th, looking west along the shoe fly tracks and Railroad Street on the right. Just left or south of the shoe fly tracks, the contractor is grading the area, preparing a leveling pad for a T-wall retaining structure that runs along the south side of the UP right-of-way. This photo also shows a boom truck supporting the SCE transmission line and the retaining walls at the Lee and Rowe property. Next photo. So this last photo is an aerial taken on June 15, looking north along Fullerton Road at the location of the underpass and new bridges. The contractor is removing previously installed shoring beams and interfering portions of existing utility casings in preparation for commencement of pile construction for the new bridge, which is scheduled to begin this week. The latest schedule showing completion of the project in June of 2025. And that concludes my remarks on Fullerton. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, colleagues, questions or comments on Fullerton Road?
Just a quick question, if you don't mind, Chair, just regarding Edison. I mean, I know that this project has been a difficult one at best, but why was Edison such a difficult issue with them? Just the scheduling aspect of it, or just dealing with Edison in general?
Well, there were some complications in getting or obtaining some right of way for some adjacent property to the west of the Lee and Rowe facility. That was sort of a lengthy process dealing with their real estate people within SDE. Other than that, it's just getting it coordinated and getting scheduled. It's been our construction manager has been trying to coordinate that since late 2021 when they first came on board. It's just hard to understand why it took as long as it did, but
that's what I was saying. I know that there's been issues, and I understand that. How about the restaurant? Has it been anybody nibbling at it, at least at restaurant?
What was Jack in the Box? Or?
Jack in the Box.
Yeah, the vacant Jack in the Box restaurant, that property is now available to be leased. I believe he has a sign out. I don't know to what extent he's aggressively trying to market the facility, but it is available for leasing. We had been assuming the lease obligation on a monthly basis for that building up until April.
Good. It's over.
We hope it's over. We have a little bit of a disagreement with the property owner. There's been some significant vandalism at the building. The property owner believes we should be responsible for repairing the vandalism. We don't see it that way. We don't believe that's an obligation in the agreement. I've briefed our attorney.
I'll make my comments even more brief.
Yeah.
We turned it over in April. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's an issue remaining to be resolved, but it is ready to be leased as far as we're concerned.
Thank you.
Very good. Do you have any other questions or comments on this item? So then it will be received and filed as well. So that brings it to item number 18. So I have a couple things. I just want to remind everybody, and very excited about the groundbreaking ceremony for the 5760 Confluence Choke Point Relief Project. We're really excited to get the shovels in the ground. That's going to be this Friday, June 30th, and it will be happening at the Diamond Bar Golf Course. I don't know if we have it where specifically exactly, or it's, I don't know where to find it, but
West end of the parking lot.
on the west end of the parking lot. Okay, very
Of
good.
the golf
Of the
course.
golf course
Golf course
itself.
office and by the restaurant and stuff like that, right?
Or, no, the other side of the parking lot.
Other side of the park, yeah, okay.
You know
Most of
this,
the grant.
you know this better than I do, obviously. Wasn't sure. Yeah, we're very excited to kick off construction on this long anticipated project that we very much expect is going to improve commuter safety and reduce traffic congestion at the worst bottleneck in the state and currently 7th in the nation. And we have fluctuated in the top 10 and have been up as high as the 3rd worst, I believe. But I mean, that's just one of those things you don't want to be, you know, number one at for sure. Yeah, not a good number at all. So, yeah, so if you haven't already done so, please RSVP directly to Ricky. And that way we can have an accurate final guest count. I am really excited, as you saw today, that we will soon be celebrating the completion of Fairway Drive grade separation, and that will be, which is in the City of Industry and also in unincorporated parts of the Roland Heights community. The construction of the 4-lane roadway underpass and 4-track railroad bridge is set to be complete next month. And we do have a ribbon cutting ceremony set for the 24th, as we mentioned. And you should be receiving invitations very soon in the coming weeks. And that way everybody can come and help us to celebrate another incredibly significant milestone in our ACE grade separation program. And since this is my last meeting serving as chair of capital projects and construction, although I will still be here representing City of Industry or someone else from my council until completion, Cynthia Sternquist from Temple City will no longer be sitting on our committee, and we want to thank her for her time and dedication, and we wish her a very speedy recovery and want to wish her to enjoy her time off. It has been my pleasure to serve as chair. I've learned a lot. I still have a lot to learn. I look forward to be able to do that. I just can't say enough about the staff here. You guys do such incredible work. We have seen some ups and downs and, you know, comings and goings of staff and things like that. And just some of these projects have been incredibly difficult. But I just, you know, I want to make sure that I know we try to tell everybody all the time. I want staff to know how much we appreciate all your hard work and, you know, getting us the information that we need so that we can represent our communities in this. So thank you very much for that, everyone.
And thank you, Corey.
And I guess, members, do you have any other announcements or comments?
I just want to mirror on what President Shevlin said. It's been an honor and a privilege to be here. And I will say that with us all and staff, we've not only had some very difficult issues, but merged the two entities together extremely gracefully.
Yeah.
And also just to the fact that our executive director and all the staff, that people come and go, but they come back.
Yeah.
And because of the fact that I want to say that I think the cog is a brain train. And but I want to thank you because I have been working up the ranks and been able to sit next to you and next to many people on this and many people from different communities. We all have a vested interest is to run it efficiently. And this committee was put together to the fact that there were some issues and we really didn't know what was going on at certain times, and even before Ms. Creeder's position. And we have transitioned extremely well, and it's a testament to the staff, also to all of our staff, the attorneys, but also to our entities in our different cities. And about that, it's just a good idea to keep an eye on our tax dollars because every one of us spends them. But I have appreciated being with you and what you've done and bringing this forward. You've done an excellent job. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tim. Member Reese, see you have your hand raised, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to comment and say, thank you for your leadership on this group. And obviously, I'm glad you're still going to be with us. And I also want to thank the committee for entrusting in new leadership. And I look forward to working with Chair-elect Hepburn as vice chair of this committee. So thank you so much, and appreciate the staff's work. These are hard projects. These are long projects and a lot of variables. And I appreciate the staff keeping track of all of that for us. With that, I'll give it back to you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir.
And I do congratulations, Mr. Reese. If it's like Miss Moss over here, I didn't get a lot of chance to chair many of those meetings. You know, today was like, what, 20 minutes. So I hope I can give you some of that you can do it also, but I'm not promising anything, but I always like you at my side. So we always have someone right next to you in case we have to jump in, and I do read my text messages. So if there's an issue where you're gonna be, just text me, please.
Absolutely. And I can't thank you enough for jumping in for me in the last,
Family
month or
always
so.
first, family first. Family
But I
first.
do want to congratulate you, sir, and I'm very happy to pass the torch to you.
Thank you.
I know you're gonna do an incredible job.
I'll try my best, I promise.
All right, so if there is nothing further, I believe we're going to receive some closed session.
Yes, thank you, Chair Moss. So we'll be convening to closed sessions, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to government code section 54956.9. And the matter is R3K Partners versus San Gabriel Council. That's what we do.
That's easy.
I did some water, yeah. We have about 5 minutes.
Sure, sure.
At this moment, we would like to ask all teleconference cities, they may log off, but with the exception of the committee members.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry, your name, what did you say?
I just asked all the teleconference locations for them to log off with the exception of the committee members.
Okay. Thank you.
They started. Petition for the 3 councilors. She's not one.
So I kicked off everyone online.
I believe Claremont is logged off.
Sorry.
I kicked off everyone online. I think you guys are good to say, you guys might be kicked out.
David?
Thank you, Janine. There is nothing to report out of closed session, so we can.
All right, then if there's nothing further, then this meeting is adjourned. Thank all of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And you're next. It's all yours, sir.